So why is it that you think they're going through these great lengths to get with all this video footage?
Kind of how I was saying before, I feel like Megan is an investment. This is why I strongly feel like Roc Nation has a lot to do with this, because if the video footage showed what they're accusing Tory of, it would literally be blasted on CNN like that day.
And that's my thing. Things leak all the time nowadays, right?
Right. So somebody, don't know who, but I think it's Roc Nation, but somebody is going through a lot of trouble to bury a lot of things. I'm like, okay, if Tory did what y'all say he did, there will be video, audio, all these things. So I personally feel like they don't want audio or visuals to come out because, again, the gunshot audio, we don't hear nothing but gunshots. That to me is that's not realistic. So I personally think that if there was video, it would show Megan and Kelsey fighting like dogs in the street at 4 a.m. over dick. And that's literally what they were fighting over. They were fighting over Tory. So my thing is that does not look good for business. So it's like we have to, spin this narrative. So but what I, again, can't really put my finger on is why are y'all lying and hiding the fight? And that's where it brings me back to one of y'all did something wrong because the fight is what caused it. It gives motive. So, and for Kelsey to come and say that Tory was the one that beat her up. She, in her jail picture, because she was also arrested, she's missing hair. She has bruises on her legs and everything like that. But I'm like, okay, so if Tory beat you up, then who beat Megan up? Because, there was a video of her in an ambulance and I had paused it because I noticed she had a golf ball knot on her head. And so I had tweeted it and put it out. Nobody had even noticed that before. So that definitely was something that went viral. So yeah, like she literally has a knot on her head. So it's like, okay, if Tory beat you up, then who beat Megan up? Because Megan, if you let her tell it, she ain't raise her voice. She ain't getting no fight or no arguments with nobody. And why wouldn't she tell us that
Tory beat up Kelsey?
Why wouldn't she tell us that Tory beat up Kelsey? And why wouldn't she say Tory beat me up? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you can tell people Tory shot you can definitely tell that Tory beat up Kelsey.
Exactly. So, and then that just brings me back to like, okay, Kelsey said that Tory beat her up, right? So we got Tory who just whooped your ass, pulled all your hair out, you got bruises everywhere. He just shot your best friend 5 times, but yet you get on the phone with him and you answer that collect call because it tell you who was calling before you accept it.
How would you respond to people who say, oh, women always talk to their abusers after they abuse them? What would you say to those people?
I would say that is a fair thing to say because, I'm definitely not going to gaslight any women because I do understand that, sometimes you are very comfortable with somebody who may have abused you or you tend to protect them. So I'm not trying to downplay any of that because all that is still serious. But I just feel like in this particular case, it's just a lot of other moving factors. It just doesn't make sense to me. And it's just the lies about the little stuff. So it's like if you're lying about getting in a fight, you're trying to cover something. So it just didn't make sense. And then Kelsey does a diss track called Bussin' Back.
I remember when this happened, when everything was going on initially, I believe. This is, of course, but this is the same, like a month after the incident, right?
Yeah.
I was wondering why Meg and Kelsey was dissing each other if Tory was the shooter. I was wondering that.
Again.
I'm not placing blame nowhere. We just going through the details. And I guess it is safe to say at this point, we know that the story didn't go the way Meg said it went on her IG Live. Yeah,
and like you said, like why are y'all the ones that are beefing and y'all are going at it online, but she got beat up by Tory, you got shot by Tory, allegedly. So what are y'all going at it about? Because remember, they didn't fight. They didn't argue. So what's the problem? You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't make sense. But
Megan lied twice, I believe. This is not me to try to do that. because I remember she said in her live that everybody was arguing and they got out the car. And she said on Gayle King, nobody was arguing. I was just tired and I wanted to leave.
Yeah, well, she said that they were arguing. So assuming that would be Tory and Kelsey.
Right.
And she didn't raise her voice or argue with anybody. But online, Megan and her friends were kind of taunting Kelsey. You know, they talking about her chain got snatched.
Right.
Got my chain snatched? Damn, here you go, lying. Yeah.
So, your chain got snatched? You mean the chain that was broken at the scene from the fight that didn't happen? So, in her song Bustin' Back, there were some very particular lines that stood out to me that made a light bulb kind of go off. So, one of the first things she says is, Desire Perez, who is the CEO of Roc Nation, she said that Desire Perez threatened her if she speaks, a sex tape would drop.
They said if I spoke, that a sex tape could drop.
So my thing is, what do you mean if she speaks? You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all already accused Tory. So what is it that Kelsey could say that would be so damning that you have to threaten her with the sex tape, allegedly? And then going on to that next point, she says, are you lying to your label? Do they really know what happened? And then in the background, you hear Biggie say, who shot you?
No, you lying to your label? Do they really know what happened? Who shot you?
So
that was a terrible song, by the way. Not Biggie's Who Shot You, Kelsey's diss track.
Okay, so I was just like, hold on now.
Nah, Biggie.
But so it's just like,
we ain't doing that.
So it's just like, okay, so what do you mean? Are you lying to your label? Who did Megan say shot her? For the people.
She said Tory.
She said Tory. So why would Kelsey, who was there, say, are you lying to your label? Do they really know what happened?
Yeah.
So no, she said, do they really know what happened? And then she was like, who shot you? So this goes back to my theory of Kelsey kind of dropping hints like, you weren't shot. Shots were fired, because I do know wholeheartedly that the gun was fired. I just don't feel like it happened the way Megan is saying it. So and then that kind of just goes back to, like, Kelsey was really all over the place. Like, she's really all over the place because in her September interview, again, she says Tory beat her up. But she slips up and says she was firing the gun in the air. And he was leaning over the front passenger door, and, you know, she was shooting the gun. That's what she says the word she. So unless she's talking about herself in third person, she's talking about the other she that's there, and that would be Megan, which again speaks back to my theory that Megan might have been the one that was firing the gun.
That's the first time I heard that theory, and nobody ever blamed Megan because she's the victim in the situation.
Yeah, and I was like, but it just, a lot of the things just didn't make sense. So I was like, how do I make this story make sense? And I was just like, because again, I don't feel like Roc Nation's gonna go through all this trouble to protect Kelsey, and why would they threaten Kelsey? So I'm like, everybody is protecting somebody, and it has to be a common denominator. Same thing with Tory.
Damn sure not Tory. They ain't protecting him.
Exactly, but Tory is also protecting somebody, and he talks about in his album about the person that he loves the most, which would be Megan. And I'm just like, to me, it just logically makes sense, because again,
why does he love her so much? They were just dating for like they weren't even dating. He was dating Kelsey, right?
Well, no, they were not. Okay, so just really quick on that story. They met at the Roc Nation brunch early that year.
Okay.
It was during the Grammys time, so I think it was like February. Megan put Kelsey on to Tory. Okay. So, you know, they was doing their thing or whatever, but Megan told Kelsey to stop messing with Tory because she wanted to work with him. And, you know, Kelsey at the time was Megan's assistant, so she didn't want it to be, you know, conflict of interest or messy.
Well, they failed at that.
Right. So now you see where Kelsey is in that mindset, like, you tell me to stop fucking with him just for you to go hop on him? Because Kelsey ended up getting COVID and she had to go back to Texas. So that's when Megan pretty much moved in on Tory, and they had their thing going on, and they've been bonding because both of their moms died. So that was one of the things that they really, like, you know, connected on. So, like, even going back to her, you know, her September interview, she says that you know, her and Megan didn't have anything going on. There was a fight with Tory. But then when she gets on the stand, she says she doesn't remember anything. And she said that she might have bumped into Tory, is what she said. And then rewind back to Megan. Megan says she doesn't remember fighting with Kelsey, but she might have bumped into Kelsey. So you don't find that weird that they both describe the fight as a bump? That doesn't sound coached?
I mean, yeah, you can't piss on me and tell me it's raining, right? So
that I was like, it just doesn't, but those are the things that are just troubling to me. It's just like there's evidence that you got into a fight. It's literally in the police report. So that goes back to, why are we ignoring the police report and why are we ignoring Dr. Lafredo?
So the police report, Dr. Lafredo. Was there anything standing out from Sean Kelly's 911 call? Did anything stand out to you?
Oh, the 911 call that is sealed, that they won't let nobody listen to?
Oh, really?
More fishy stuff going on, right? So Sean Kelly's 911 call is literally under lock and key. You can't hear it.
Slack time.
All right, so this is messages for the Uptime Allies and the Tea Party. It is Slack time. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment, and don't forget to hit the notification bell.
#UPTAF. Let's get it.